And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce the man of the moment. Greg, come forward and tell us a bit more about your story.
Thanks, Dennis, and thanks, Sebastian. Very, very kind words, and I don't know if I deserve them, but I'll take them. So thanks. Thanks everyone for coming along. I've got a few little notes there. So I'll just give you a reason why how the book came about. About 8-9 years ago, I was under the care of an incredible man by the name of Dr. Fred Hocking, who was a psychiatrist, and I'd see him every couple of weeks, and I was struggling in between appointments. And he said, well, why don't you start writing? And just writing what your thoughts are, and then when you see me every couple of weeks, we can talk about it. I thought, oh yeah, that's all right. So I bought an exercise book, and every night I'd write, like a journal, and that was my release. And then as time went by, I thought, well, I wasn't doing anything else, so I might just write my story. There was no rhyme or reason behind it. There was never any thought of it being in a book, I can tell you now. And I had the 400 pages of my Royal Children's Hospital records. And I thought, well, I've got the records there, I might just go through and just start writing. And it helped me too, because a lot of the stuff that I didn't remember, but having the records there just helped. And this just progressed and progressed and progressed. So, and then last year, after I got back from Paris, I was chatting to a very good friend of mine, Les Cameron. Les, where are you? Where are you? Oh, there's a man over there. Well, he's to blame for the book. Okay, he's been a wonderful support to me for the last 10 years. When I was going through a pretty hard time, when I left North, I got knocked back to the disability support pension at Centrelink, and I thought, I don't know, how am I going to go through this? And Les came with me, and he was my advocate for about 6-12 months dealing with Centrelink when we were going through all the rigmarole. So, and he has just been there the whole time, and he's been marvellous. And he, after I come back from Paris, he said, we're just going to write this book. I said, oh yeah, all right. He said, give me a draft. I said, all right. So January this year, I sent him 165,000 words. Within 24 hours, he sent it back and said, halve it, then talk to me again. So from that, over the last 7 or 8 months, or 6 months, we decided we got down to about 40,000 words. Where I'd say something in 50 words, Les would change it to 20 or 10. So that's why we got down to where we are. And so that's how the book came about, and you know, it's just wonderful. So I've never been to a book launch before, so this is the first one. So I said to Les, what do I do? And he said, well, the book launches, you're supposed to read a few passages from the book. I thought, a lot of people here have read it already, but anyway, this is what you do. So I've just picked out 5 passages. They won't go for long, but just excuse me if I stuff a couple of words up. So I'll start from the beginning. I was born at 3:30 p.m. on Saturday 9th of May 1964, the first child to my parents, Max and Wendy Ryan. As I was slow to breathe, Dr. James Smybird had performed a more thorough examination and exposed my situation. Minutes after facilitating my birth, Dr. Smybird broke the devastating news to my 20-year-old mother and my 22-year-old father that their newly born son was born with an imperforate anus. I was born without an anal opening. Of course, it was life-threatening and needed to be treated immediately. My shocked and distraught parents had absolutely no idea what this condition was, and they were even more distraught when advised by Dr. Smybird that it would be prudent to arrange that I be baptised as soon as possible. Due to my condition, there was no certainty at that time I would survive the day. Within minutes, my parents had gone from the absolute joy of their first child being born to the absolute horror of being told he may not survive. I was baptised in my mother's arms, and an hour after I was born and placed in a humidity crib, I was then rushed in the back seat of my dad's Volksy while he drove it, accompanied by a nurse to the Melbourne Royal Children's Hospital, and it was admitted to at 5:15, less than 2 hours after I was born. So that's the start. Okay. Had many surgeries, many hospital visits. You just have to look at the 400 pages. But I started going through primary school, and then I got to an age where I could play sport. So I wanted to talk about this passage especially because there's a lot of my mates here who I played footy with 40 years ago, and they're still my mates and they're here now. So this represents what my friends at footy mates were like. I was not shielded from doing what the other normal kids were doing, be it school parties or sports. I started playing footy for Geordie Jets in 1974, just like any other kid. Although the negative aspects of my condition were significant psychologically, physically I could fully participate in many sports and activities. Thanks particularly to the encouragement of my parents, I'm proud that I could play competitive football from the age of 10 through to 18, and I could adapt and put my condition to one side. Through every game I played, however, I was paranoid that people would see my soiling through my shorts. One trick that I developed from an early stage playing footy was, as I ran out on the ground, I'd bend over and grab some mud or dirt and just wipe it on the back of my shorts, thus covering any soiling patch that may have come through. As far as I could tell, no one ever knew this, and it was a formidable part of my adjusting to a situation that protected me and my secret. In every game, I would check my shorts at half time for any trace of soiling and would always have a spare pair of underpants. There was, however, an upside to my IA, and that was if any time my courage was questioned, I would just lift my footy jersey up and show them my massive scar on my stomach. The other advantage was if I was barracked after missing a shot for goal, I'd say, you try and kick straight with only 4 toes. Okay. But that was about the age of 10, 12, and I was starting to understand what my condition was, and that I was a bit different. And this is where a gentleman who's here tonight came into play greatly, who I first saw him when I was 4 years old, and I came under his care more permanently from when I was about 10 years old. So I just want to pay tribute to Dr. Justin Kelly, who's here right now, and for everything he did for me. And for Mum and Dad, you know, one of the highlights of the night's been seeing Dr. Kelly see Mum and Dad again after 35 years, so just wanted to pay special tribute to him. Okay, we'll skip through a fair bit. We'll get to the age where I was 37. I'd been married for 10 years, I'd worked, and things I started to feel that things were just not right. So I was just feeling, emotionally I was struggling. So it all came to a head in early February 2000. During one lunch break, I had cause to travel into the city. Instead of doing the energetic thing of walking the 1 kilometre as I would normally have done, I decided to take the lazy option of catching a tram. On this 5-minute tram ride, I succumbed to a terror and burst into tears. It was at that moment that I recognised that while I had numerous issues with my health since birth, most had clearly physical causes. Now there was no signs of something being wrong. I didn't need to find a toilet urgently, I didn't need to hide my soiling, I didn't need a band-aid, I didn't need a headache. I was simply scared and confused. I composed myself and went back to what to do in the city, and then walked back to work and called Dr. Damry. I'll just speak about Dr. Damry for a moment. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight because he's overseas. but I first saw Dr. Demery when I was 3 months old as my GP. And we were talking a few weeks ago when I gave him a copy of my book, and he said the first time he saw me, he said, "Have a look at this poor little bugger." I'm proud to say that I last saw him when I was 46, so he was my GP for 46 years, and he was my rock. So would love to have been him, he'd be here tonight. I got to Dr. Demery's rooms and I immediately felt safe. I told him that I had become stressed and fearful for work and lost total confidence. I'd become withdrawn and I felt I was letting my staff and myself down. I also talked to him about my failures, and he acknowledged that he had intuited that things had not been going well for me. As we talked, my emotions exploded, and I again began to cry uncontrollably. Dr. Demery advised that he would refer to me a psychiatrist, Dr. Fred Hocking, and confirmed that I would make an urgent appointment. He believed I was demonstrating the symptoms of chronic depression. He explained that the human spirit was like a glass can overflow as you lose control, and my glass was well and truly overflowing. Dr. Demery described how all my medical conditions over my lifetime, as well as personal and work issues, were now confounding, and that's why my glass was overflowing. For me, the burden of my secret finally had caught up with me. The physical toll was now an emotional toll. Okay. Fast forward to 2014. I hadn't worked for a few years from North, unfortunately, and I was sort of like in a bit of a daze. I didn't know what I was doing. And then one night, out of desperation, because I just didn't know what to do, I went onto Facebook, and for some reason, I don't know why, to this day, but I'm glad I did, I typed in the word imperforate anus in Facebook. I was hoping there may be a support group for people with the condition. I was delighted when I found out there were 3 separate private groups accessible. I immediately introduced myself to each and noted that I lived in Melbourne. Within 24 hours I received a message from a woman who lived in Melbourne who was a mum of an IA son. She was also an organiser of the Imperforate Anus support group. She advised me that there were 5 other members of the group who lived in Melbourne. I had been thinking all my life that I wouldn't know anyone else with IA, and now within minutes I had 5 instant contacts. I was amazed and delighted. The Melbourne group had decided it was time for the mums and their kids to meet each other. I knew how much that would mean. Apparently I was so open in my introduction to the Facebook group and so willing to share my personal experiences, they were gracious enough to invite me to their next meet-up. It was to be at the Melbourne Zoo. I arrived at the zoo gates feeling apprehensive but excited at the same time. I met the group who were just inside the gate and they greeted me with great enthusiasm which settled me down. There were 4 mums and their kids, which included non-IA youngsters as well. For the first time we just strolled through the zoo and chatted casually but awkwardly. Eventually over lunch the inevitable conversation began. One of the mums described the history of her then 7-year-old son. She explained how her son required daily enemas. I was overcome by a white wave of emotion. As I watched this wonderful kid enjoy the company of his peers, I saw myself. There was a feeling of sadness, a feeling of anxiousness, a feeling of sorrow, a feeling of protection, a feeling of pain, and the overwhelming feeling of hope. I had to do everything in my power not to burst into tears. Minutes later, still bemused, I began to talk to another one of the mothers. Her name was Christy, and I eventually asked her how her daughter was, wondering if she had required the same debilitating treatment that I had so well remembered as a child. She paused, and I immediately thought I had said something wrong. And a second later, she haltingly revealed, "It's not my daughter, Greg, it's me, I have IA." I was speechless, and tears ran down our faces. It was the first time either of us had ever met another adult with IAA. We both had lived a lifetime of thinking we were the only person in the world with the condition. If I thought what had happened only a few minutes earlier was incomprehensible, then the news burst across my soul. I am not alone anymore.